Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Whole Wellness Mama Summit, where we're unlocking the healthiest, joy-filled mom in you using strategies from various wellness and parenting experts. I'm Amy Nesbitt, and I'm super excited to discuss the importance of habits, especially good habits, with Lori Oberbroeckling. Those that were with me for last year's summit have seen her before because she's amazing. Lori is a mom of four, corporate leader and trainer, podcast, productivity expert, and author of the book Secrets of Supermom: How Extraordinary Moms Succeed at Work and Home, and How You Can Too. She's passionate about helping parents who want fulfilling careers or side hustles or passion projects while also wanting to feel present and connected to their families. So great to have you again, Lori.
Yay, thank you for having me.
Of course. Many are excited to see you again, but some are meeting you for the very first time. Can you share your quick story of how you came to where you are?
Sure. So in during the pandemic, I had this supermom idea. And so I wrote Secrets of Supermom very quickly. I wrote it in 34 days and birthed this book, just over 3 years ago. We just had the book's birthday. So just
Oh,
over 3 years ago, and it turned into a podcast and a summit like yours and a society and just so many amazing ways to help busy, overwhelmed, stressed out moms find their passion again, find the things that they want, and still feel like they get to do it all without actually doing it all.
I love that. I resonate with that so deeply.
Same.
We always hear about the power of habits, right?
Yes.
But negative habits can get in our way.
Yeah.
Can you kind of elaborate on that and also maybe just define habits real quick as we
Yeah.
start?
Yeah. So I think we always talk about positive habits, right? We talk about building habits, right? And even when we think about habits, we often are thinking about those positive things. Those, I want to start a water drinking habit, or I want to start a workout habit, or I want to be in the habit of doing weekly planning or meal planning on the weekends, right? You want to start to build these habits. But we also have these negative habits. And I think for a lot of us, if I said you have a negative habit, you would probably think of something like smoking or drinking or right, like the things that go all the way to the, yeah, that's not good for your health, right? We already know these things are like, these in habit formation are not ideal for us. But we also have very small, very specific habits of things that we do in our lives that are not serving us, like habits of sitting down after work and not wanting to get back up, right? And so we
Yeah.
watch another show or we scroll a little longer or right? So I love that example because so many of us can resonate with that, right? We get home from work or even out of our home office, right? And all of a sudden we don't want to do anything, right? And that very easily becomes a habit. Because some days when you're done with work, you absolutely need to rest, right? Maybe been on your feet all day. Maybe it's been chaos. Maybe you have a very angry client or a very angry boss or very angry lots of people, right? You might have had really stressful conversations. You might have had some really hard conversations, right? We have things that happen at work that mean that when we get home, we're physically or mentally exhausted and we need to rest. And so sitting down is necessary. But sometimes we can just get in that habit, and maybe going for a walk would feel really awesome, or going for a swim in our pool would feel really awesome, or hanging out with the kids would feel really awesome, or playing a game, or any number of things. But we get in this habit of sitting down and turning on the TV or sitting down and pulling out our phone. And any number of these things together get in the way of us being as productive as we want, doing the things that really fill us up versus numb us out.
Mhm.
And so I think that habits are so important, not just for the good building, let's figure out how to put this in our life and make it amazing, but also for those, what's getting in my way, not in a big way, but in a little way, in small ways every day, that's taking me just a tiny bit further from my goals every single day.
I like that you said numb because a lot of us do a lot of these things just to get away, right, from all the heavy stuff or just the stuff that we don't really want to deal with. So I
Yeah.
appreciate that. And when we say habits, it's things that we do routinely. Well, maybe I shouldn't use routine either, that we do over and over and over.
Yeah, it's over and over, but not necessarily daily, right? I think we like to think of habits also like it's something that we are doing constantly. And it doesn't have to be that, right? Let's say you are in a nursing position, you work 3 days a week, but when you get home, you are in this habit of doing the scroll or doing the TV, and you don't want to be in that habit anymore. You're only doing it 3 days a week. But would I call that a habit? Of course, absolutely, I would. So it doesn't necessarily have to be daily, but it is something that is regular, consistent, right? It has that cue and routine that follows it. So even if it's not daily, if it is those things that keep happening over and over again, that sometimes we go, I don't really want that to keep happening over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, how many of us resonate with that? But so I know you talk about habits that are stealing our joy in motherhood specifically. Can we dive into that? I think you have three big ones, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think so. Really, we kind of started to dive into one, right? This numbing out. So the things that we do to numb out, that oftentimes for us is TV or scrolling, right? Like if you're not a TV-er, you might be a scroller. And if you're not a scroller, you might be a TV-er. But maybe you have something else that isn't benefiting you, right? Because those things are probably not benefiting us, right? But they are taking us out of our life.
Mhm.
And sometimes in small ways, that's okay. Sometimes we need that. Sometimes we need a brain break, right? But usually there's something else that might be a little bit better for us, right? A little bit better for us where we would actually feel refreshed at the end. Because I think most of the time, some people are like, I love my shows and I feel so good afterwards and it's so great, right? If that's you, oh my goodness, this is not your negative habit, right? If you feel really good and you're very cognizant of the amount of time that you spend, you love it, it's filling you up, keep at it, right? Like I want those things for you. But so often we do the thing, we watch the show again or the extra show, we scroll a little longer than we wanted to, and usually we feel guilty and yucky about it, not refreshed and regenerated, right? So we do these things that sort of help us escape, right? So this sort of numb out, this escape feeling, I think is really probably the biggest. But we also have other little things that get in our way, the things that get in our way of our health and the things that get in the way of our relationships. So things that get in the way of your health are things that take you out of the habits that take you out of the health goals that you want. And I'm not talking about weight loss. You might be on a weight loss journey, but many of us aren't. I am talking about the things that get in your way of making you feel really good, in that you might know what makes you feel really good. You know, a way of moving, a way of eating, right? Maybe you're a runner and you love that. Maybe you think running is terrible and you love yoga. Maybe, right? Maybe you're a weightlifter. Maybe any of these things. Maybe you just like to stretch in the morning, but you let habits get in the way of doing those things. Maybe you're a meal prepper. I feel like meal prepping is terrible. I hate it. I do not meal prep, but I do meal plan every
Uh-huh.
single week. And that is what keeps me on track, right? If I let those habits of sleeping in or not doing the thing or whatever get in my way, then that thing, the meal planning, gets in the way of me eating the way that I want to eat and feeling the way I want to feel in my body. And then here I am not feeling the way I want to feel, not eating the way I want to eat, not having the energy that I want to have, right? So those things that get in the way of the way that you could feel.
Mhm.
And
And
then
then
the last one,
often, I know you
yeah,
mentioned earlier the first one that we feel guilty about it afterwards, right?
yeah,
And I think that's absolutely the case here too, where we go,
yeah,
oh, I should have been waking up early to go exercise, or oh, I should have planned ahead so I didn't eat that garbage I picked up from
yeah,
like fast food or whatever.
yeah, yeah. And you feel terrible after, right? Because
Yeah.
if these things are intentional, oftentimes they don't aren't seen as negative habits, right? Some of the things that we do in our life, and when we're doing it with intention, we feel really good about it. And so we don't feel guilty, we don't feel yucky, we don't feel unhappy, we don't feel like it's taking us in the opposite direction of our goals, right? We feel really good. So if that's not the feeling you're having, if in your body you are feeling the guilt, you're feeling it well up in your chest, you're feeling it get in your stomach, right? Whatever that body feeling is for you, when you're starting to feel that, then you know this is not the path that I want to be on. Even if I don't know it in my head just yet, my body just told me. So now I get to listen a little bit longer.
Love that.
And then I think the last thing is the things that get in the way of our relationships. So now again, that could be the scrolling in the TV, right? Like those could also be the habits that are getting in the way of not only you numbing out, right? Stepping out of your life, but also getting in the way of your relationships. Because if you're scrolling instead of listening to your kiddo, if you're scrolling instead of talking to your spouse, now maybe y'all are sitting on the couch together and you're all precious, sending each other memes, and it's like the cutest thing ever, right? Cool, you guys are having a wonderful time. But so often we're not, right? So often we're scrolling to get away and not connect with our people. So whatever that is for you, what if that is stepping out of your life in any other way to not connect with the family, to not connect with friends, to not connect with your partner, then again, those habits are getting in the way of what will fill you up ultimately in life, right? Feeling amazing in your body and amazing in your relationships, we know is that lead domino for everything. It's a lead domino to feel amazing in every other area of your life. And without those things, without building the habits in to do those things, because sometimes those things take work to keep going, right? Most of us don't just have an easy relationship. Most of us don't just have glorious interactions with every human you ever encounter, right? We have to work on these things. We have to work on our health goals. When we don't, when those habits get in the way, then we are in a spot where we don't feel the way we want to feel.
Yeah. And whoever says they don't struggle with any of that is lying.
Right?
Or prove me wrong.
Or unbelievably lucky. And please come and speak
Yes.
on the next summit and share with
Yes,
us.
that's right.
Right? Yeah. We want you on all of our summits, in fact.
Absolutely. So, all of us struggle with these things. What can we do instead?
Yeah. Yeah. What do we do instead? And that's really the question, right? I think so. First is recognizing it,
Mhm.
right? If you're sitting here going, that's not me, okay, then maybe it's not. But we like, are you really living life you want to live? And if the answer is yes, every part of my life is amazing and I love it. And when it's not, I fix it, right? I look at it and I make changes and I, right? That's, that's where we want to get to. But so many of us are not there, right? We're maybe really far from where we want to be, or even maybe just a couple of steps. We've seen ourselves let some of these habits, these lifestyle changes that we've sort of let go longer than we thought, right? Like the eating out went a little longer than we thought, or the maybe, like the nighttime wine went a little longer than we thought. Whatever those things are, whatever you're realizing is, this is maybe not a habit that is serving me anymore. It's realizing it.
Mhm.
It's saying, I wonder what that's about. Because I'm not here to judge and shame, right? That's the feeling you're already doing. You're already giving yourself judge and shame. I have no judge and shame for you. What we get to do is say, interesting, I notice I've been doing that. I notice I've been scrolling way more than normal. I notice that I have been numbing out immediately, putting on headphones, putting in earbuds, right? Like numbing out from my family, numbing out from my relationships, numbing out, skipping my workouts, skipping my meal planning, right? Any of those things, we've got to realize it and then just get curious. I wonder what that is, right? If I start skipping those things, I know that I have an overpacked schedule. I know this now because I've been intentional and paid attention and seen it happen over and over and over and over again, right? So as soon as that starts to happen, I go, do you have an overpacked schedule? All I need to do is look at my planner and I go, yes, you sure do. And so now what do I need to do? I've paid attention. I've gotten curious. I know what mine are. You might not. And you're just going to get curious, ask some questions. And then you get to say, what would make that different? Right? Because now I've been curious and it's not about the workout, is it? It's not about me not wanting to hang out with my partner. It's not about me not wanting to snuggle with the kids. It's about me being overscheduled. So I then get, because I've got a little curiosity, I can say, that's actually the root of my problem. Now I get to decide what comes off this calendar because this isn't the life I want to live. The life I want to live is healthy and energized and loves the people in her life and wants to feel really good about that. And so now I get to make the change. So intention and understanding and getting curious, and then deciding what I get to do about it.
Yeah. I love that you said there are things that might have outlived or just are not serving us anymore because it could have at some point and it was really beneficial, and all these things that we talked about, like watching TV or grabbing like food out, none of these are bad inherently. It's
Nope.
just when they become habits that take away from the other things that would make us feel good, like you were saying, is where the issue comes in. And recognizing is hard. Reflecting is hard, and taking that time is hard, but so, so precious. And you know me, I love developing life skills for kids. And so, how do you see this when we model these things for our kids? And how can we teach these things to our kids too as we're raising future adults?
Yeah. Yeah, I think our kids are always watching, right? They're always listening. They know things, right? You'll do something and they'll be like, oh, but you used to do this. And you're going, wow, right? They are paying attention.
You're so
So,
observant to a
so
scary point.
observant.
Mhm.
So when you come home and you're scrolling, when you come home and you say, get out, mommy's watching TV, we'll talk later, right? When you pop in your earbuds and you're not listening, when you decide to do whatever, right? Any of these things that you're doing, they see those, right? They also see when you decide to work out for you, when you decide to meal plan for the family, when you decide, right? When you decide to go on date night, when you decide to take them on dates, when you decide to sit down and look into their little faces and talk to them, or their big faces, right? Some of you have big ones. I have little and big ones, right? When we're looking at the ones that are taller than us and
Yeah.
we're looking at those faces, and we get to decide that how we spend that time, but they're watching all of that. They're seeing it, right? So I want them to know that they get to make decisions, right? They get to live how they want to live, and they get to change their mind. If something isn't working, they get to change it. They get to do it differently. They get to say, I'm sorry, I was totally not listening to you. I don't want us to have conversations when I'm not listening to you. I want us to start over. Is that okay? Right? We can absolutely do that. And then, of course, most of the time, they are going to say, sure. And some of the time they might say, no, I'm mad at you. Okay. Right. And then we
Yeah.
get to have that conversation too. But I think that really just remembering that we get to feel that the way we want to feel, but that we're always modeling, we're always role model, even when we don't intend to be.
Oh, I love that you also brought up the conversation of sorry, that's not how I wanted to show up, right? Because I think that's so, so important. I don't know how many times my kids have said, Mom, you're always on your phone, which I'm not always on my phone, but they feel like I am. And that's not a good feeling to have. And so we've had that conversation before. And sometimes I put in my AirPods, for listening to my books. And I thought they were doing something else, but they wanted to do something with me. So then I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. And so I'll take them out. But being able to have that conversation and be able to change course and know that I am not perfect, is a good thing for them to learn for themselves too. So I love that. Yeah. What are some ways, I guess, now that we are taking away some of those bad habits, recognizing them, where can people start, I guess, once they recognized and they want to dive deeper into being curious about it? Where do they
Yeah.
go from there?
Yeah. Well, if you're wanting to make the change, right? Some changes are easier than others. Some you might have paid attention. You might have gotten a little curious and asked yourself some questions. And then maybe the whole root of it, right? Like I told you, my overpack schedule, I find is the root of it. Well, if I take that schedule and I reduce it, if I pay attention and I cut that back, all those other escaping activities, all those skippings of the healthy things that I am supposed to do, they go away. I go right back into the habits that I have, right? But sometimes it's harder. Sometimes we've been doing the thing that maybe we don't want to be doing for a really long time. And then we have to make a change. We actually have to do things differently so that we just don't get drawn right back in, right? So if every day I come home and I walk through the door and I go straight to the couch and I turn on the TV, right? If I do that every single day, I've got this very, very clear cue and routine, right? And then my reward is TV, right? So that's the habits or the habit cycle. And so I have to do something differently. Maybe I walk in through the garage. Maybe I just change where I go into the house so that it's a little bit different. Maybe I get out of my car and I walk to get the mail first. Maybe I get out of my car and I walk around the block first, right? There could be any number of things that by just changing it a little bit says, oh, yeah, I don't want to go sit by the TV. Oh, yeah, I didn't want to just sit and scroll. So now I've changed the one thing. And then maybe you still go inside and scroll, right? Maybe you do, but you've changed it a little bit so that you're thinking it's not just habitual because the habit truly is our brain going, this is easy. I already know what to do. I'm just going to go do it. right? I don't have to think about this. I know where the TV is. So you thinking about it, you just making that tiny change can often be enough that you make the bigger change and the bigger change and the bigger change. So just a tiny little bit, little bits of changes make the big changes.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned that because the phone is a big thing where I have said, I don't want to touch this first thing in the morning, but I don't have a clock in my room, right? But now I have started to charge it outside of our room because then I am forced to go do all the things first, look outside, say hello to my family, and then, do all the things. But if I need to look at my calendar to start off my day, I just do that the night before now. So I'm prepared. I don't have to feel like I need to look at what's on my calendar for the day. So changing up, just a little
Right.
thing does
That's good.
a big deal.
Yeah, saying, okay, I don't want to do this. Okay, well then let's make it harder, right? Let's put the phone outside the room. And then I love the way that you did this because it's so what happens is, but then all these excuses start to come up. But I need the alarm. But what if I have to, but what if someone calls me and it's an emergency, right? Because so many of
Yeah.
us get 3 a.m. emergencies, right?
It just
if
takes
you're
that one, Lori.
if you're an OBGYN, I get you. Keep your phone. Don't let make those babies come, right? But most of us are not getting 3 a.m. emergencies. Most of us in our lives are not getting that, right? Most of us could probably buy an alarm clock for $4 at Target, right? Most of us could probably not check our email first thing and not feel like we're in the flood of fires immediately, right? Most of us could probably do things differently. And so just saying, is this an excuse or is it real? Is this an excuse or is it real? Is it an excuse or is it real? And then saying, okay, I've talked myself out of it, right? Now I'm going to charge my phone in the kitchen and I'm not going to have it next to my bed. And now I have to work to do the thing. I knew a woman that often kept my office is downstairs, my bedroom is upstairs. She had the same setup. She would keep her phone in her master closet. So it was literally the furthest spot around her house. So if she wanted to check her phone, she could, right? It wasn't locked up, but she had to go all the way upstairs, all the way through the bedroom, all the way into the closet. And she didn't do that a whole lot, right? She did it occasionally, but she didn't do it a whole lot because it was a lot of effort. So just making things harder, like you said, make it harder. And then it becomes, again, a triggered thought that says, do I really want to get my phone right now? Or am I bored? Or am I wanting to scroll? Or am I trying to escape? Right? It becomes, then I get to ask the question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it even serves a good purpose for our family too, because whenever my children get devices, which will not be for a while still, but now they kind of have this precedent of, okay, they charge out there, things don't happen right away. You don't need to check it. So I'm hoping
You
to
don't check
install.
text messages all night long.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, I'm not looking forward to that day.
Goes by the book.
I know, coming sooner than I think, though. Well, we like to end, as always, by giving everyone a quick action or challenge to complete today to start putting these things into action and getting some wins. And so, what is your challenge for our moms?
Yeah, so I want you to think about one area. So as we talk today, I'm confident that you thought, ooh, I totally do that, right? Maybe it was an example that we gave, like an actual one of the ones that we talked about, or maybe just as we talked today, you recognized something else in your life that you went, ooh, yeah, that's my escape, or that is a habit of mine that keeps me out of my relationships, that keeps me out of the health goals that I really want to do. I just want you to think about that, right? That's the only action step. I want you to think about that thing that came up for you and get curious about it. I just want you to get curious about it because there is no saying you have to change it, but let's just get a little curious. Let's think a little bit about, is this something that is happening for me? And is it something that I might like to change?
I love that. And I know you have a fantastic freebie for everyone too. Can you share what that is?
Yes, I have what I call the Best Week Ever Toolkit. It is the step-by-step weekly planning process that I use, that we use in our society every single week. We do it together. And it is really just walking you step by step exactly what we do to plan your week. So we don't just plan your week and hope that we get things done, right? We have a specific strategy that we use, and you get to get that in the toolkit. And we walk through exactly what we do to make sure that we're doing all the things that build our energy, make us feel really good, and that we still get to do all the things that we want to do every single week. So I love it. And that's a process I use.
Because that's the point of planning, right? To make
That's the
space for the things we
point.
love and also get the stuff done that we need to.
That's it.
And that is a great segue into your bonus. If people upgrade to the VIP pass, it's a month in your membership in the Supermom Society you just mentioned. Can you share with everyone what that would look like?
Yes. So the Supermom Society is our monthly membership for busy moms who want to do more in less time. And really, it is a whole set of things that you can do to use time better. So there is a bonus for planning your best year ever. There is a bonus for mastering your morning. We monthly plan together every single month. We weekly plan together every single week. We do Q&As and we share books and we do all sorts of things. And if that sounds like, oh, that's so much, that's so overwhelming. No, we have a 90-day plan that walks you right through exactly how to do this without overwhelm, without stress, what to focus on. And so it really is my favorite thing.
I love that. I don't know what you all are waiting for. Grab that VIP pass so you can try it out, and then you're just going to want to stay. But so you'll grab that. Links will be included. And not only that, but you get to keep all the videos from this summit, and all the other amazing speaker bonuses will be included if you upgrade as well. So I hope you do that. Anything else, Lori, that you want to share with our moms before we wrap up?
I am just always so grateful to be here and to share with moms and to get to interact with you and to answer your questions. It's just always such a pleasure. And so thank you. Thank you.
It's always a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for sharing how to cultivate the right habits to help us thrive. And everyone, go do that challenge. Take some time to think and then share with us in the Facebook group how that went for you because we want to support you on our journey. Remember, it takes a village, and be sure to come back for more amazing summit speakers.